You've been carrying dead weight your whole life, and you don't even know it. Right now, as you're listening to this, there are pieces of your past, broken relationships, failed dreams, outdated versions of yourself that you're still dragging around like some kind of emotional graveyard, and every single day, they're sucking the life out of you. Most people walk through life like they're running a charity for everything that's already expired. They hold on to jobs that crushed their spirit years ago, friendships that turn toxic, identities that stop serving them, grudges that eat them alive from the inside. They're basically volunteering to be haunted by ghosts that should have been buried a long time ago. But here's what's really twisted about this whole thing. You think you're being loyal. You think you're being strong. You think you're being responsible by carrying all this dead weight. But the truth is, you're just afraid. Afraid of letting go. Afraid of the unknown. Afraid of who you might become if you stop defining yourself by what's already rotted away. See, the human mind has this sick attachment to familiar suffering. It would rather stay comfortable with pain it knows than risk the discomfort of actually healing. So you keep feeding energy into things that died years ago, wondering why you feel so drained, so stuck, so completely exhausted all the time. That relationship that ended 3 years ago, but you're still mentally arguing with your ex about what went wrong. That's dead weight. That career path you abandoned, but keep second-guessing yourself about. Dead weight. That version of yourself from high school that you're still trying to prove wrong. Dead weight. The approval you never got from your parents that you're still chasing in every interaction. Dead weight. And the most insidious part is how this dead weight disguises itself as meaning. You convince yourself that holding on to these things makes you deep, makes you sensitive, makes you someone who really cares. But caring about something that's already dead is in depth. It's delusion. It's like trying to water a plant that's already turned to dust. Every morning you wake up and instead of facing the day with your full energy, you're immediately weighed down by this invisible backpack full of expired emotions, outdated beliefs, and relationships that exist only in your head. You're literally choosing to live in a cemetery instead of the actual world. The reason you feel so tired all the time isn't because life is hard. It's because you're trying to live multiple lives simultaneously. You're trying to be who you are now, while also being who you were 5 years ago, while also being who you think you should have been, while also being who other people wanted you to be. That's not living. That's performing in a one-person theater where all the other characters are dead. But here's what nobody tells you about letting go. It's not about forgetting. It's not about pretending things didn't happen. It's about stopping the active energy drain. It's about refusing to keep pouring your life force into things that can't grow, can't change, can't give you anything back. Think about it this way. Your energy is like a bank account. Every day you get a certain amount deposited. Now, if you're spending that energy on things that are already dead, what's left for the things that are actually alive? What's left for the relationships that could actually flourish? The dreams that could actually manifest? The version of yourself that's trying to emerge? Most people are energetically bankrupt because they're paying bills for addresses they don't even live at anymore. They're funding the maintenance of emotional real estate that burned down years ago. And then they wonder why they don't have the energy to build something new. The dead weight you're carrying isn't just draining you. It's blocking you. It's taking up space that could be occupied by something that actually serves your life. Every minute you spend rehashing old arguments is a minute you're not present for new opportunities. Every ounce of energy you waste on situations you can't change is energy you're not investing in situations you can create. And the truly sick part is how this becomes an identity. You start defining yourself by your wounds, by your struggles, by your past. You become so attached to your story of suffering that you're afraid to let it go, because then who would you be? You'd rather be a victim with a clear narrative than a free person with an uncertain future. But here's the reality check you need to hear. That pain you're holding on to, it's not honoring anything. That grudge you're nurturing, it's not protecting you. That regret you're feeding, it's not teaching you anything new. These things are emotional parasites, and they've convinced you that they're part of your identity when really they're just feeding off your life force. The people who seem to have endless energy, who bounce back from setbacks, who move through life with this almost supernatural resilience, they're not superhuman. They just figured out how to travel light. They learned the difference between processing something and carrying it forever. Processing means you feel it, you learn from it, you integrate the lesson, and then you let the emotional charge dissolve. Carrying it forever means you turn it into a pet that you feed every day, a story you tell yourself on repeat, a weight you strap to your back and drag everywhere you go. The art of letting go isn't about becoming cold or detached. It's about becoming selective with your energy. It's about recognizing that your emotional investment is precious and not everything deserves a permanent place in your inner world. Some things are meant to be temporary visitors, not permanent residents. Right now, take a moment and scan your inner landscape. What are you holding on to that's already dead? What relationships are you still trying to resurrect? What versions of yourself are you still trying to fix? What outcomes are you still trying to control that are completely out of your hands? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Every dead thing you're carrying is preventing something alive from entering your life. Every ghost you're entertaining is taking up space that could be occupied by something real. Every wound you're nursing is energy that could be used for healing and growth. The reason you feel stuck isn't because you lack opportunities. It's because you're so weighed down by the past that you can't move toward the future. You're trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of rocks, wondering why everyone else seems to be moving so much faster. But the moment you decide to drop that backpack, everything changes. Suddenly you have access to energy you forgot you had. Suddenly you can see possibilities that were hidden behind all that emotional clutter. Suddenly you can move through the world with a lightness that you thought was reserved for other people. This isn't about becoming heartless. This is about becoming smart with your heart. It's about understanding that your emotional energy is a finite resource, and you get to choose how to spend it. You can keep funding the museum of your past, or you can invest in the construction of your future. The dead weight you're carrying isn't just affecting you, it's affecting everyone around you. When you're drained from carrying things that don't serve you, you don't have the energy to show up fully for the people who do. When you're stuck in the past, you're not present for the relationships that are trying to grow. When you're defined by your wounds, you can't see the healing that's trying to happen. Your friends, your family, your romantic partner, they're all getting a version of you that's operating at half capacity because the other half is tied up in maintaining relationships with ghosts. They're getting the leftover energy after you've already spent your best on things that can't appreciate it. And here's the part that might hurt to hear. Some of the things you're holding on to, some of the people you're still carrying in your heart, they let go of you a long time ago. They moved on, they healed, they found peace. But you're still there, still carrying their energy, still trying to resolve something that only exists in your mind. You've become a one-person support group for a relationship that ended, a cheerleader for a dream that died, a lawyer for a case that was already dismissed. You're the only one still showing up to a party that everyone else left years ago. The liberation comes when you realize that letting go isn't giving up. It's making space. It's not about becoming empty. It's about becoming available. Available for new experiences, new relationships, new versions of yourself that can only emerge when you stop trying to resurrect the old ones. Think about nature for a moment. Trees don't hold on to their dead leaves. They let them fall, they use them as compost, and they grow new ones. The ocean doesn't hold on to yesterday's waves. It lets them crash and creates new ones. Rivers don't try to flow backward to visit old landscapes. They keep moving forward, carving new paths. But humans, we collect our dead leaves. We try to preserve our old waves. We attempt to flow backward while wondering why we feel so stuck. We're the only species that voluntarily carries emotional baggage from situations that no longer exist. The energy you're wasting on dead weight could be powering incredible transformations in your life. That mental space you're using to replay old scenarios could be used to imagine and create new ones. That emotional capacity you're spending on things you can't change could be invested in things you can influence. Every successful person, every happy person, every person who seems to have figured out how to thrive rather than just survive, they all have one thing in common. They learned how to let dead things die. They learned how to honor the past without being imprisoned by it. They learned how to grieve fully and then move forward completely. This doesn't mean you forget the lessons. This doesn't mean you pretend painful things didn't happen. This means you stop giving them daily access to your energy. You stop letting them vote on your current decisions. You stop allowing them to dictate your future possibilities. The dead weight you're carrying has convinced you that it's part of your identity, but it's not. It's just baggage. And baggage, no matter how familiar, no matter how long you've carried it, can be set down. It can be left behind. It can be released. Right now, in this moment, you have the power to decide what gets to travel with you into your future and what gets left at this station. You have the power to decide what deserves your energy and what needs to be composted into wisdom and let go. The question isn't whether you can let go. The question is whether you're ready to stop being drained by things that are already dead. Are you ready to reclaim your energy? Are you ready to travel light? Are you ready to make space for what's actually alive in your life? Because the moment you drop that dead weight, the moment you stop volunteering to be haunted, the moment you choose to invest your energy in what's actually growing, rather than what's already gone, everything changes. You don't just feel better, you become available for the kind of life that's been waiting for you to show up with your full energy. The dead things you're carrying, they're not coming back to life, but you can. Looking at your summary, I can see you've explored the psychological prison of carrying emotional baggage and the importance of letting go. Now let me complete this journey by showing you exactly how to practice this truth. Here's the brutal reality most people refuse to accept. You already know what needs to die. Deep down, you've known for months, maybe years. That toxic relationship you keep trying to resurrect. The career path that stopped fitting 3 promotions ago. The version of yourself you built to survive trauma that happened decades past. But knowing isn't enough. The real work begins when you stop negotiating with what's already dead. Stop trying to breathe life into corpses. Stop carrying coffins and calling it loyalty. The process isn't gentle. You don't ease into letting go like slipping into a warm bath. You make a decision, and then you honor that decision when it hurts. When the familiar weight of that dead thing feels safer than the unknown lightness of freedom. Start small, but start somewhere. Clean out your phone contacts. Delete numbers of people who drain your energy. Unfollow accounts that make you feel inadequate. Throw away clothes that belong to a version of yourself you've outgrown. Then go deeper. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Set the boundary you've been postponing. End the pattern you've been perpetuating. Each act of release creates space for what wants to emerge. The goal isn't to become emotionally numb or spiritually bypassed. It's to become selective about what deserves your life force. To distinguish between what's genuinely alive and what's just familiar. Your energy is finite. Your attention is precious. Your peace is not negotiable. The moment you truly understand this, everything changes. You stop being a cemetery for dead dreams and start being a garden for living possibilities.